SalesBrief, and my main message for today is that enterprise sales reps and sales teams are not dead and they're not going anywhere fast. There's a stream of thought out there. We're sort of in the midst of a B2B content marketing revolution that is propagated by a lot of successful local companies like HubSpot that will potentially lead you to believe that if you build it and if you write about it, they will come. Problem is that that really doesn't work for a lot of companies. There's only about 9% of B2B marketers who say that their content marketing efforts are very effective. And I'll tell you exactly why. Before I started this company, I was the head of sales for a fintech company. And every day I received no less than 25 emails that had helpful tips and the top 10 ways to do just about anything. I get why people are searching for this. They're looking for this easy button and this way to have a very scalable sales process. But the answer is that guys like me, who is the target of many sales enablement services, just don't read that stuff. We just don't read it. So the old-fashioned knock down the door and poke you in the chest and sell you something has gone out of vogue. The reason is because we're in a tech golden age where, as API Fortress just explained, there's an API for everything. The boundaries to tech are minuscule, and the price points have been condensed because of it. The days of the multi-million-dollar software license are limited, and as they go, so will the $100,000 base salary enterprise sales rep that it takes to sell that complicated system into that complex organization. So my point is that enterprise sales reps are not going away because you do need someone to break down the door and poke that person in the chest because there's just too much content out there. They're not going to pay attention to you. But you do need to find a way to do that more efficiently and more scalably. And that's what SalesBrief is designed to do. So SalesBrief is a way to produce a repeatable, scalable sales process that would enable an otherwise junior rep who does not have the experience of a $100,000 enterprise sales rep you probably can't afford because your price point is too small, to execute your winning formula repeatably. So our goal is to proceduralize the sales process, standardize it. You said it again, okay. And deliver an experience that even stand by. There we go. Set up a way that you can onboard somebody who maybe just out of college, have a ton of energy, be able to follow up, be able to knock down doors, and explain a lot of complicated information to an enterprise. I'll show you exactly how to do it. You start from a template. You proceduralize your process, everything from your elevator pitch down to your compliance information, your due diligence files, the contract details, and you create engaging content that's going to explain these complex concepts that otherwise take 30 years to learn and 30 years to master. You create an individual customized portal site for each prospect that you're selling into that frames that content from the elevator pitch, the descriptions of the products, the business case, client testimonials, contracts, implementation process. So it's easy to understand and it's easy to share amongst the 15 different stakeholders who weigh in on the deal. This is backed up with analytics that are going to tell you everybody who logs in, how much time they spend on it, so we can help that junior rep navigate the organization. So if you send this out and you do it well, it gets passed to the head of IT, it gets passed to the head of compliance, it gets passed to the procurement team, it gets passed to the CMO. You see everybody log in, you watch their path, you know that they're reading through the business case materials. You know if that deal is going to close soon, even if your rep is inexperienced and can't pick up on the social signals and the buying signs, because they're reading your due diligence materials, they're reading your contract, they're reading your audits and security reports, and you know that when someone's actually doing that, they're getting close to buying it, regardless of what the notes are in the CRM, regardless of how you're reading the tea leaves. Actually having objective measurement of what prospects in a large enterprise are doing makes the process of forecasting much more predictable. So the bottom line is we have to evolve, we have to change because the tech world is changing, our price points are coming down. We have to find a better way to sell scalably and effectively. Any questions? Yes.
So how detailed can you get with different usage from the customer on the buy side? Is it one account or an enterprise account that everybody's coming from?
That would be the recommended best practice. Our clients use it in two ways. They use sort of a one-to-many portal. They just send the same link out to many different people, and they see who's logging in at different institutions. For a larger enterprise, a more complex deal that takes 6-12 months, the recommended best practice is to create a site specifically for that client. The URL's customized. It would say, you know, your customer, your company / the company's name. So they have this personalized URL that sort of is the wrapper around all your digital content. And then you can track. You know, our clients will sell, for example, fintech. They'll sell software to banks. They'll send a link over to one person. They're doing a lot of the deal with the phone, and 25 people will log in. You'll see the path for 25 different stakeholders, and now I know, okay, this is the head of compliance, this is the head of technology, this is procurement. These are all stakeholders I need to address. And it helps that person, whether it be a senior person or a junior person, it just helps them navigate the deal and do things that otherwise required face-to-face meetings, a lot of unscalable, expensive stuff that a lot of companies can't afford. Yes? Yes, we did. The user experience was too difficult for what we're looking for. To really do this well, UI is important, UX is important, because if it's not beautiful, if it doesn't look good, it doesn't get passed around the organization. So that's why we built it outside of it, but it's a natural plug-in to any CRM, pipes the data right into where you're forecasting, and it's a natural fit for Salesforce. Any other questions? Yes. Our business model, it's a subscription-based service, so between $50 and $75 per user per month. We've sold into small businesses so far. We're just moving to sell into the enterprise now. We launched the company in January. And actually, we're a Mass Challenge finalist, so we're starting next week with the Mass Challenge program to build out and accelerate, hit our specific business goals. Yes?
Does it just help junior salespeople, or
No, it doesn't.
Shorten the sales process?
It doesn't just help junior salespeople, but it's much more useful for junior salespeople. Because senior people do this naturally. I mean, they've been through the ropes. They don't necessarily need maybe an aid like this. Certainly helps. I mean, I use it all the time, mainly because you only retain 10% of what I tell you. So if I have this leave behind and I follow up with it, you can remember what I told you regardless of my seniority. I just find it particularly useful if you're going to try to build a sales team with junior people who aren't as seasoned, because this is really a nice, sort of think of it like a mech infantry suit. I put this guy in this, support him with something like this. He goes in a meeting and he follows up with this and looks like a rock star.
So how do you tailor it for your clients and your company and so products?
Yeah, so the way it's designed is that there's certain templates that one would start with. If you sell into multiple verticals, the pharma template, a template for fintech, etc. which is a different path. It preloads a lot of best practices content. And then from there, you curate the site for specifically what that client is looking for. So it's different from a website. Website, you sort of get lost. It's a one-to-many asset. This is a one-to-one communication tool. So I can curate just the content that I know is relevant for you. But it has a starting point of all the best practices materials, the best practice steps, the best practice process that if you execute that every time, you'll probably be most likely to win or be effective.
And that's a service you supply to your client? For the initial templates?
Yeah, so we work with clients that are very immature versus ones that have very robust marketing teams. So for large companies who have tons of content, usually it's just taking out of the Dropbox folder that it's buried in and nobody uses and putting it together in these templates. For younger or less mature companies, we have a full scale content production team where we actually go in and we interview the founders and we create little video clips. And in fact, you reminded me, I have a promotion. For anyone who signs up for the service in the month of June, so you have 2 more weeks, the best way to do this is with a badass, really good introduction video, which is an elevator pitch of your concept in 60 seconds or less. Everyone loves to click play, and they'll pass the link around the organization. So anyone who signs up in the month of June, we will come in and we will create a free, badass introduction marketing video for you that will be a great way to present this to others. It's not required. You can put your PowerPoint deck here, but it just doesn't look as sexy and it doesn't work as well. So we will come in, we will interview your founders, we'll cut up a really nice clip because that is the services side to our organization. And some people need both the services and the software.
All right, thank you very much.
You bet.